Hi. It's good that we have this event in Seattle. There is not much to do, so you guys didn't get too drunk, and even on the morning session, we have some people. Most of the time, I would have these sessions in the past summits where I need to talk about something abstract. And every time I would come to a summit and I would need to talk again about something abstract, about some predictions of the future. And you have to imagine that it's quite difficult to predict the future in a different way every year. And so this time it's much easier. I'm going to talk about something very, very specific. This is Acronis. And it's going to be very self-focused. It's about Acronis and what you can do with Acronis. And that is because I think it's actually something which is very useful for all of you. So first of all, about Acronis. Acronis was founded in Singapore, in fact, together with SWSoft. Was split as a separate brand in 2001. It has 23 offices in 18 countries. It has hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. It's about the same size as Parallels plus Odin, or whatever. I mean, I'm still not yet fully adapted to this Parallels Odin difference. 700 people, 300 engineers, does all the business through partners, 30,000 partners globally, 300 OEM partners. A lot of times when you use backup products from Seagate and Western Digital or other hardware vendors, these are actually Acronis products. And it's established company, it's established vendor. We have 500,000 businesses who bought our products and 5 million consumers in 15 languages in 145 countries. So really, Acronis historically is about just 3 products, which are very good market-leading products. Acronis True Image, that's the one which is used by 5 million consumers. Acronis Backup, that's the one which is used by 500,000 businesses. And Acronis Access, which is our newest product about secure file access. And we believe this is a very crowded space for data protection and for backup, but we believe we're a leader. And that allows us to be very profitable in disaster recovery, in full image backup, in protecting endpoints, PCs and Macs, in deployment and enterprise file sharing and syncing. That's an access product. And we continue to see momentum in our old market. We have Fortune 500 customers. Last year, we actually sold 3 million new licenses, and 300,000 corporate customers use our products, and 100,000 of them are new. All of the Acronis products are built on top of a very advanced technology, which we call Acronis AnyData Engine. That is about 2 million lines of code, which is in a constant development over the past 15 years by our engineering, about 300 people and 20 PhDs in our engineering. We were actually quite innovative and in the past, and we released a number of technologies first to the audiences to which we released. So we released first image backup in the case of True Image. We introduced complete P2V by migration, and we did a number of other things. And we continue to invest in this technology, and that's one of the reasons you should work with us. If you talk to our customers in our traditional market, they would tell you that there are 3 reasons why they buy our products. One is our products enable ultra-fast backup and ultra-fast recovery, better than anybody in the industry. 2, they are very, very easy to use, and that allows them to be used by consumers, allows them to be used by small businesses, also allows them to be used by large businesses where they need something simple, and they also provide complete protection. So you can recover any server on any server, and I'll come back to this later, and we continuously invest to make our products even easier, even faster, and even better. Well, now, this is about Acronis. If you look at Acronis a while ago, say 2 years ago, has nothing to do with this audience. And I love hosters. And the more I think about it, the older I get, the more I understand that I actually do love hosters quite a bit more than a lot of other people, a lot of the vendors in technology space. So again, why do I love hosters? It's very easy. I built my business with hosters, with you guys. Parallels, Parallels and Odin, I ran it for 10 years. And then even when I left the business to the good hands of Birger, who is doing very well with it. I've founded a venture fund, which actually ended up investing in hosters in the companies which actually do software for hosters. Companies like Nginx, Cloud Linux, Gelastic, Anturis, Equid. Many of you use those products. And we also invested in hosting companies. And by the way, we are always welcome to consider new investments which are related to cloud services in this fund. However, in 2013, I came back to Acronis. And in 2013, Acronis had basically zero cloud revenues. Our cloud revenue run rate was like $500,000 a year, out of multi-$100 million revenue stream. So why is that? And you know, the first thing is I realized that protecting data and protecting systems is a huge opportunity. There is more and more data in the world, and you guys, all of you, can measure amount of data which you have on the servers and protected, and it's growing very rapidly. This is just some of the numbers. Of course, all of the analytics about this type of numbers are very approximate, but data is growing at 125% per year. We've spoke to a number of partners recently, and they tell us that they have a data growth, data capacity growth of 40 to 50% a year. And then they say that their secondary data, the data which they keep in archive and in protection, is growing at 70% a year. So it's growing very rapidly. You know, in 2015, internet traffic will reach zettabyte of data, which is an unreasonable amount of data. I remember I started my business from making computers with 20 megabyte hard drives. That's 20 megabyte? Well, no, it was 20, Oleg. It was 20. No, it was never 10. Come on. And so 20 megabyte, you know, today in my PC on which I was preparing this presentation, I had 32 gigabytes of RAM, not to say so. And also, you know, important thing, which is also a good thing for cloud, is that the internet speed is growing very, very rapidly, growing actually faster than the amount of data. And so what are the trends which are enabling data growth? It's very, very simple trends. All of these trends: cloud, mobility, social, 3D printing, digital money, Internet of Things, wearable technology, you know, big data and user behavior analytics, and artificial intelligence and deep learning. All of these things are basically converting the real world, the world we used to live in 20 years ago, which was a nice and safe physical world, into a digital world of bits and bytes. In fact, if you think about it, now everything about our lives and about our businesses is described in digital bits and bytes. And when we live or die, whenever people think about us, they actually think about us in the form of digital bits and bytes. The pictures, the movies, the records, the documents, everything is digitized. And so there is real data explosion happening. And so, you know, this is just some other fact. There's lots of facts like this. You know, all the data which was created by humanity from the beginning to the year 2000 is now being created every 10 minutes. So lots of data. People talk about singularity. How many of you guys believe in singularity? Yeah? Oh, I can see some. Oh, John Zani believes in singularity. That's good. But you know, singularity is about a lot of things. It's about humans being a secondary species, like ants, and then something superhuman controlling the world. But it's also about the fact that during the singularity, everything becomes digital. And so everything becomes data. Now, when data is lost, it's never good. It's quite clear that most important what is lost is time. And in the modern world, losing time is very, very bad. Human life is short. There is only 600,000 hours, only 100,000 to 200,000 productive hours. And so losing 10 hours is a lot. Losing 10 hours for 100 million users, and some of you guys have 100 million users, is actually 5 to 10,000 lives of humans. But you know, even in case you're not concerned about losing time, you have plenty of time. Losing data is about losing money, losing power, and losing fame. And you know, almost all the time it's bad. Of course, with losing data, when the data are in the wrong hands, you can actually get fame, but it will not be a good one. Lots of examples about it. Many of you are very familiar with these examples. Only 33% of companies who lost data were able to recover. This company, which is a web-based SVN and JIT hosting provider, CodeSpaces, basically was closed down after the data loss. Well, there are some good examples as well. There are companies in this audience which I know in the past, I'm not going to name them, who lost data and then were able to recover after losing 30% of their business. So it's very important to protect data. Data loss always happens. There is many reasons for data loss, many reasons in your data centers, many reasons in the places where your customers have data on premise. And by the way, guys, there is a timer here which is supposed to tell me my timing, but it says I still have 60 minutes, so I will talk indefinitely. Anyway, so hackers, forced reveal, user mistakes, viruses, software failure, media left behind, lots of different reasons, including kids. And in the modern world, it's not only about data safety, where you're talking about something external breaking your system or something accidental happening to your data. But it's also about data security, because data is now outside of your corporate firewall and it's potentially visible to third party, and that third party may be bad. And it's about data privacy, because you want to make sure that your data is in your control. And of course, privacy and security are often confused topics, but the privacy is about the fact that you want to control who sees your data, and you sometimes don't want to show your data even to a good guys. You sometimes don't want to show your data to your family, to your employee. You want to make sure the data is yours. And I just want to give some information about it. This is just a question which we typically get asked if it actually happens. Average fail rate for servers is about 8% per year, and for the disk is about 3% per year. And by the way, quite often when we talk about data loss to people who don't yet do backup and disaster recovery, they would tell us, okay, but don't we move to SSDs? And solid state drives, they must be, there is no data loss. SSDs, they have very similar failure rates as a normal drive. So you can lose data on the SSD as equally. And that means, and here we fantasized, but if you count those rates, our premier partner, Host Europe, for Acronis, is one of the largest privately owned hosting companies in the world, has 60,000 servers, with, we estimate, several disks per server, and that means that they experience 5 server failures a day. So it's just something which happens all the time. Now, there is a lot of things which people are ready to do a lot for. For example, love. For love, people are ready to kill, ready to spend a lot of money. They're ready to get a partial love. But there is a lot of other important things in our lives, like protecting our mouth and tooth, which are not necessarily as important. And you will only do those things if they are very, very easy. Imagine if you need to stand on your head to brush your teeth. Many less people will do it. And imagine that if it takes 1 hour to brush your teeth. I think, the same thing, there will not be so many people who will do it. It will be important. And so same with backups and with protecting data. In order for your users to do it, in order for you to do it, it has to be super easy and super fast. Now, it also has to be complete. That one is pretty obvious, but reality is that if you use the same analogy, imagine that you only can brush one tooth. Every other tooth in your mouth fall off, but you have several sort of healthy tooth in your mouth. That wouldn't make sense. And so same with protecting data. You need to be able to protect all of your data sources and all of your systems and in all of the necessary ways. And finally, it has to be cheap. That's very important because it's not a primary operation. You don't leave to brush your teeth. Unfortunately, you have to do it. I hope in the, with all this singularity coming in the sometimes not so far future, it will not be necessary, because for me personally, it's quite annoying that I have to do it twice a day. But if I do it for several minutes, I will suffer. But if it's gonna take too long and it's gonna cost me too much, I'm not gonna do it. And the interesting thing is, before cloud, it was not so easy. Let's take an example of 100 mid-sized customers with 10 servers and 100 workstations. Well, if they buy backup software, they will just pay $16,000 and $2,300 of CapEx. But in addition, they will have to buy backup hardware, they will have to manage network, they will have to buy power and cooling. Often businesses don't think about it, but every computer spends a lot of electricity which you pay for. They will have to have some kind of data center shell, and most importantly, they will have to have a person to manage it. As a result, it is difficult for many of your customers to do complete protection. It is very incomplete. They only protect what it's really, really needed, and they only do it, most of your customers are medium-sized businesses and small businesses, when they had some problem already, and it's very expensive. So the total cost for these customers to protect data is about $38 million a year. So, you know, the backup software part of it is very cheap, but unfortunately, they will have to do all these other things before cloud to protect data. Now, you know, there is always evolutions. When things become very popular, there is always an opportunity. And this is a private story, so I'm not sure whether it's good to share it, but I will share it anyways. You know, there is a company in this space which is funded by initial idea of making industrial production of bread. Apparently, this is the company which you all know. It's called Rackspace, right? So the company is funded initially by family trust of its founder and chairman, Graham Weston, and his grandfather was very smart, and he invented industrial production of bread in UK. After the war, he went on and bought 15,000 almost bankrupt at that time bakeries and converted those private bakeries into a storefront while moving the production into a factory, into a serialized process. Interestingly enough, you know, 50 years later, the grandson of that guy made something similar with servers. Rackspace is one of the iconic companies in this industry. You know, it's $2 billion in revenue. It started in 1997, and it's a great example for us all. And I think that is because there are a number of advantages for industrial production which apply to production of data protection. First of all, it's architecture. It's a scale-out architecture versus scale-up architecture. In the cloud, you can buy exactly what you need and then expand by adding additional capacity as you need, and you can manage it, and so you can use commodity hardware. Second of all, you buy things in bulk. Unlike the small businesses, you can buy hardware in bulk from Supermicro, you can buy networking gear in bulk, you can buy electricity in bulk, you can buy data center space in bulk, and you can hire people, and all of these people will not only be bought in bulk, they will also be always utilized. You don't need to add capacity for the next 5 years. And finally, you can automate all of it, and so you can manage it much more efficiently. And so that's why we believe for the first time with cloud, it's becoming very, very easy, very complete, and very cheap to do data protection. And for example, if you look at our revenue, look at our pricing matrix for Acronis backup service, protecting the very same customers would only be $22 million, which is $38 million which they spend themselves. And so that's a lot of revenue. That's 10 times more revenue which we can get, and that's something which we want to split with all of you. And by doing that, we actually save money to our customers. We can, of course, go on and give better discounts, and we provide them much better service. So for the first time, cloud enables complete data protection, easy, complete, and cheap. Really, from the cloud, you can offer exactly what customer needs. Customer doesn't want to run backup software or buy backup hardware or create backup network. Customer want to make sure that if his data is lost, he can recover it. Customer want to make sure if his system is down, he can recover it. That's all they want, and you can offer exactly that, easy, complete, and cheap, and that offers a huge opportunity for cloud storage. This is just one of the estimates. Cloud storage supposedly growing at 33% per annum. and it's a $57 billion market. And if you look at hosters, hosters made domains and shared hosting and servers easy, complete, and cheap. And they created the bundles and did the product management. And as I mentioned on a lot of these conferences, every time I speak, I think about that even 10 years ago, when I was speaking to the same audience, I would go back and talk to Microsoft in behind the scene, or talk to IBM, and all of them will look at this and skeptically say, yeah, hosters, well, this is just very temporary. They will all disappear very soon, and yet you guys continue to grow and become more and more profitable, and more of you are going public. GoDaddy is already public, just since recently, with $4 billion market cap. 1&1 is also public with $9 billion market cap. And Host Europe, that's actually the server for you, Ed, but now it's a part of Host Europe group, hopefully will go public in the near future and make valuations of this industry soar even further. And so I think data protection is a perfect next big thing for you to do for your customers. I mean, I don't have that much time in this presentation to explain why this fits perfectly your product offerings, why this is a secondary service which many of your customers will happily give to you to manage. But it's a huge opportunity. What I really want is to enable $30 billion in revenue in protecting data and protecting systems over the next less than 10 years for this industry. And that's why I'm back to Acronis. In fact, since I'm back, the cloud part of Acronis is growing at a tremendous rate. It's something which I have never experienced in my career. Parallels used to grow to 100% and then 100%, but we grown our cloud revenue 2,000%. And that is from $1.5 million revenue to about $30 million revenue run rate. And that is now 20% of our revenue. And there's a lot of times in this presentation where I would want to point out that you should immediately come to us and ask us what you can do with that opportunity. So why is data protection is so good for hosters, but why nobody has done it? And really, it's very, very simple. It's just there is a lot of systems in the market, great products, which are competing with our traditional products, which are designed for individual use. And it's very, very different in the cloud and in your data center. First of all, your data sources are different. You have a lot of servers, but the servers typically don't run a lot of Windows, and they don't run a lot of Red Hat, and they don't run VMware and Hyper-V, and they don't run Microsoft SQL and so on and so forth. However, they run Zen or KVM or Odin containers, or they run Docker in the future, maybe OpenExchange, MySQL, so very different data sources. They run Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, Scientific Linux, Cloud Linux. We intend to offer protection for these workloads. These are sort of proprietary workloads. We are the best protecting them. Also, in the cloud, you have to have complete automation. Yes, there are great enterprise products which are used by some of you, like Commvault. And Commvault is scaling very, very well, and it's suitable for the largest enterprise in the world with 1,000 servers and 100,000 PCs, or maybe 50,000 on a single instance. Well, even a modest hoster has much more. We're talking about tens of thousands of servers. We're talking about millions of customers. Host Europe has 2 million customers. And we're talking about tens of millions of users. And so you must have complete integration with automation, billing, control panels, provisioning. And finally, it has to fit your business models. I understand your business models. For better or for worse, I'm in this industry for 15 years, and these business models require licensing flexibility. We have to be able to fit into the way you charge your customer, per device, per gigabyte. We have to bundle in, we have to enable upsell and cross-sell. That's the business models. It's very often underestimated how complex a business model in this space. And so effectively, it's a difference between your private warehouse solution or the production sort of automated warehouse like on this picture, which apparently is becoming very popular. Now, since I realized all this opportunity, as soon as I came back to Acronis, and especially 12 months ago, we made cloud 100% priority for every product we do. We believe we are the only company in the world which have 300 engineers which are dedicated to make our products designed for cloud. We are building all of the products first as a cloud services from our data center. We're making them available as a solutions for our partners, which you can deploy in your data centers. And only then we're releasing them all premise products. They're all based on a single platform, all share common UI, integrated and ready for upsell. They're all based on Acronis AnyData Engine and Acronis storage. And we are really developing it in a cloud pace. We have new features in every 2 months. And that means if you come to us with your data center setup and you have proprietary mail server, or you have certain distribution of Zen, which you modify for your needs, and we don't support it now, we can support it in 2 months or in 4 months, it's real easy for us. And so what we are building here in Acronis, and part of it it's a vision, part of it it's what we have today, and is a complete data platform, data cloud from Acronis, backup, disaster recovery, files cloud, file sharing and synchronization, archiving, e-discovery based on Acronis cloud storage, protecting any threat and scenario, any workload, any policy for any of your customers, hosted or external, enabling upsell, cross-sell, and we call it Acronis A, B, C, D, E, F. Open server and agent API extended to third parties, so you can actually take our platform and build features which you need in managing the data of your customers better. And you know, I pitch this all the time to different ones of you in person, and I talk to other people, and they all ask me like, oh, backup, what's different? I mean, there's so many solutions. And reality is that, believe me or not, we are the only one who have solution which is actually designed for you, which actually has all these features built and integrated in such ways that they work in the hosting service provider environment and enable upsell, cross-sell, and making money. And yes, some of you tried some other products in the past, and some of you succeeded a little bit, some of you succeeded a lot, but with this product for the first time, you can really succeed. All of this will be available to you within the next 12 months. Let's talk about what we have today. So first of all, I wanted to talk about what you can actually protect. And there are 5 things you can protect, 5 things you can sell to a customer. First of all, you have virtual machines and physical servers in your data centers, hosted for your customers. And you can protect those. And you can also enable upsell from, say, VPS to VM, from VM to dedicated server, from dedicated to managed in real easy way, because you just need to back up and use Acronis Universal Restore to restore to another system. And that's a very useful system. Well then, what else you need to, what you can also protect is the various special workloads, like hosted email, shared hosting, site builders, and clusters of various services. Today we support a limited set of those solutions which are in use by you, but we are very, very open to support the solutions which you have in your data center. So if you have a certain email implementation, like for example, Rackspace have their own email system, it's very easy for us to support that system and provide complete protection of it. Now, big opportunity is to offer protection for your customer for the systems which they have still in their office. That's a great opportunity, first of all, because you already have a relationship with a customer, and if especially it's a managed customer, it's a trusted relationship. It's also a great opportunity because it's a way for you to migrate workloads from on-premise to your data center. Finally, you can protect your own systems, and it makes sense because if your systems are down, that's sometimes when you experience churn. You know, that's not politically correct of me, but since I'm a chairman of Odin, I would allow myself. Yesterday, we actually wanted to show you a protection of automation. You know, Birger have shown a demo where there was a disaster recovery of this flower shop server, which is a fantasy. What we originally wanted to show is that you can actually do a disaster recovery of automation, and you can do staging of automation, and it could be just 1 minute downtime in case of complete loss of servers on which you run Odin automation in case of the disaster. And finally, this is very interesting, you can backup and migrate other people's systems. If you offer our backup, it's real easy. Somebody use backup from your data center, install the agents in the server which is in data center of your competitor who doesn't use our products yet, and makes a complete image backup of that system and then restores it in a virtual machine or on a server in your data center for a beta price or a beta service. Well, next thing it's very important is that backup is a special product. There are very high expectations to be met to be successful. This is some history of backup. There are backup was used in 1951 first. So it's a 64 years old technology, and regular backup practices for people who actually do backup include a lot of different things which are improved and developed since 1960s. And really there are two types of people in your customer base whom you can offer backup and data protection. There are people who already use backup and there are people who don't. And your best customers are the ones who use backup already, and they only would buy backup service from you if it's a complete system. If it's not a complete system, it will not be appealing. They will compare it to what they expect the backup to be. And most of cloud backups, most of backups of our competitors, companies like Yazo, the company like the one we acquired into Acronis itself, Backup Agent, they are very limited in functionality in comparison to traditional backup solutions. And that's why it's not yet clicking with you guys. Well, I also want to talk about two very important things about backup which are widely misunderstood. Backup is really just about two things. One of them is called recovery point objective, RPO. One of them is called recovery time objective, RTO. And RPO is just how far back in the past you need to go if you experience a failure. And RTO is just how much longer you need to wait when you experience a failure to recover. And generally, you can live in a tent, and also you can live without backup, because without backup, you can copy files, probably with RPO much more than 24 hours. Because, what you can do on a Linux server, you can run a tarball, let's say every, 1 day, maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days, and upload the tarball to FTP. It loads the server like hell. It takes a lot of time, and so you're not going to do it too often. And you can also live without backup. In that case, when you do a recovery, it's probably 1 day as well. You need to restore the server, pull the data, configure everything. It doesn't work first. It's even worse when you actually do it with multiple servers. Now, the normal system is living in a normal house. You have an RPO, which is less than 24 hours. And you have an RTO, which is less than 1 hour. That means that you need to only lose 1 day in case of data loss. And you can recover in less than 1 hour. And with a great system, it's 15 minutes and it's less than 2 minutes. And so that's the whole difference. Can you live without backup? Yes, you can. But if you lose the data, you might lose several days of data, and you might lose several days to recover. If you have a great system like the one we are trying to pitch you, you can have an RTO of less than 2 minutes, and RPO of less than 15 minutes, even for multiple servers. And so modern backup system, which is competitive, which is appealing to your customers for the first time, has to support any different data for your customer, the data which they have in your data center and the data which they have in their data center. It has to restore data in a variety of different ways to be fast. Bytes, blocks, bricks. It's very important for RTO and RPO. How do we accomplish having an RTO sometimes less than several seconds? Well, very simple. When you have a server and it doesn't boot, it doesn't mean that you lost the whole drive. It might be that you lost just 5 files. And when we restore those 5 files, even in case it's a 10 gigabyte files, we don't restore 10 gigabytes. We only restore the blocks which are broken. And so when you restore several kilobytes, that's when you can do it very, very fast. You can transfer any data, very important, especially when you do backup in underdeveloped countries like Germany. The uplink speed is very, very slow. I was amazed to know that in Singapore, uplink speed is 50 times faster than in Germany. Hopefully Germany will catch up, but in any case, even in Germany, with a fast upload speed, our backup solution works because we have a special technology for upload of large files. You also need to be able to support any data. We obviously encourage you to use our storage to do backup, But we also support variety of disk arrays, variety of cloud storage, variety of tape arrays, and variety of policies where you keep some data on fast storage and then stage data into the tape. And that's something which your customer who use backup expect. The flower store, unfortunately, probably doesn't use backup, and so they wouldn't be so sophisticated, but a lot of your customers use backup and they expect all these policies. And this is a funny one, but you need to ensure the data is recoverable. And I mean, in this case, I will be politically correct, so I won't talk about who that is. But when I talk to many of your guys, you say like, oh, we use this, this product, which is competing with you, and it's a very good product, except there is no recovery with the product, right? So the fastest backup product is the one which does backup, but you cannot recover actually. And ensuring recoverability of the data is very important because you do backup for say 3 years. On a single server, it's based on an 8% per year rate for 12 years before you need to recover on a single server. 12 years. So unless you have a solution which makes sure that the data is actually recoverable, it might be that at the time when you need to recover, it is not actually longer usable. Also expected by your customers to have monitoring and reporting and various other things about the backup. Because in many cases, when people use backup solutions, they actually not using it because they expect a failure. Nobody in this world is ready for a failure, apparently. But they use it because they want to make sure it's done. They want to feel good, and so they need reporting and monitoring. Finally, it has to be very secure and private, and of course, it needs to completely integrate with your systems. And that's what we have with Acronis Backup. And we have it today. So if you're not doing it today, that's not smart. Then another thing which is very interesting is cloud disaster recovery. And this is the type of service which is truly only became possible with the cloud for the wide variety of workloads. Because in the past, in order to recover, and that's something which was missing on my slide, you actually have to have replacement hardware. Not so many customers have replacement hardware. And most of the small customers and medium customers will have to order hardware, and it takes several days to get it, and then they can recover. With the cloud, they can do recovery in the cloud. The way it works is very simple. They install an appliance, physical or virtual, in the data center of the customer, and it can also run local recovery. Client gets a full self-service portal where he can see how his data is replicated to the cloud. It's stored locally and in the cloud. And full copy of the client data center is in the cloud, and it can be connected with a virtual network, with VLAN. And so at any point, customer also can test that the recovery works. It's really very good product, and the key of the product is very simple. You imagine you have $50,000 worth of hardware, 10 servers. You want to do a disaster recovery solution for this? Well, you need another $50,000 of servers. So for 10 servers, you need 10 servers. So you have 100 customers, they need to buy every one of them extra 10 servers. With disaster recovery solution like this, you can actually have a 1 to 30 or 1 to 100 ratio. So to recover 100 customers, you need 10 servers. Or to recover maybe 30 customers, you need 10 servers. And that's where the economic works. For the customers themselves, it's 10 times more expensive to accomplish the same RTO. Of course, this solution is also automated and very nice. Just want to make one point. This is a market-leading product for us. We were recently named as a top challenger in this Gartner quadrant. Gartner is always funny. I apologize if Gartner is in the room. But the reality is that these products which are in the leader quadrant is IBM, SunGard, and NTT. And their products are 10 to 30 times more expensive than ours. And so certainly you cannot resell NTT, SunGard, or IBM because most of your customers are not ready to pay, or rather almost no your customers are ready to pay $1 million a year for disaster recovery. It's a high average selling price product, so it's very good for managed service. It's $50,000 a year. We probably will have a lower end product which will be available at $20,000 a year in the near future. And of course, it starts from several $1,000s a year, but our average customer pays us about $40,000 a year. And it has very good traction in very specific verticals where downtime is prohibited. Legal, Especially in US, every law firm needs to buy legal insurance during the lawsuit, because if they cannot access, I mean, in the movies you see these law firms with huge data rooms, with lots of, with lots of boxes, and then you see in I don't know, the Good Wife movie, when they need to look through the papers, they actually sit down in this room for days. Well, in reality, lawyers use document management systems, but these document management systems need to be always available, because the judge is not going to wait more than 2 minutes when the systems are down. And they can't loosen more than last 15 minutes of recording. And also finance, manufacturing, same thing with manufacturing. If the servers are down, manufacturing is down, so downtime is very prohibited. Very good product, huge market opportunity, $2.4 billion next year. And actually, I think very significant part of it is in North America. I believe many of you guys are from North America. So let's say 1.5 billion from North America, growing at 55% per annum. If you guys are offering managed services, we have this service as a best service for you. Finally, the last solution which we have today, we just have 3 solutions today. It's Acronis Access for file sync and sharing. I'm finally seeing my timing, so I don't have that much time to talk about it here. But basically, it's a secure Dropbox. It's a secure way to provide full access to files from various data sources on the device. It's integrated, it's installed on-premise, integrated with Active Directory, points to different servers in the business, and make the data from those servers available on mobile device in secure sandbox. This particular product today is a product which can be offered as a managed product to your customer. I just met Rackspace several days ago, and I realized that it is a good product which fits a SPLA model where you can manage the product for them. Because with any product like this, it's not about sharing, in fact. This product is about accessing files, and it's about control. And it's nice that our product enables to set up different policies, but somebody has to manage those policies for the customer. And in case of Rackspace, for example, it seems that they could be a trusted party to not only be able to manage policies and monitor who is accessing the data, who is sharing the data, who is managing the data from a variety of those devices, but also to manage it. And very good traction for us in the specific verticals. If you have those verticals as your customers, this is a very good product for you. And of course, we are also, as soon as I came back, we also decided to build a product which can be hosted, multi-tenant and multi-tier service management console. Again, it's a simple product. It's a file sharing product for businesses. It's based on a very advanced technology of Acronis Access Advanced. So it supports various policies with data. It supports collaboration. It supports workflow. It supports editing. It has nice user interface, but it's a hosted product which you can offer to your customers, and they can keep data. Effectively, it's a competitor you can become a competitor to Box.net. Of course, the advantage you have against Box.net is you already have the customer, and the customer already has user accounts with you. And that's a big advantage because, of course, we're all very excited about this industry of file sharing, and Box.net is a great company, but it continues to spend tremendous amount of money acquiring new customers. You have the customers, and you can offer this product to the customers. They need it. Box.net proven it that they need it, and Dropbox proven it that they need it, and you can offer it integrated with the rest of your services. Of course, we also support IPS with this product. This product is available as beta right now. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about the business models with our products. There is really 4 ways you can use our products to make money. The first way, you can offer it to your customers in a SPLA model. So you basically can give a license of our product to the customer, or manage the license for the customer, like with Acronis Access Advanced, and pay us monthly fee. The second model is a cloud service managed by us. You can resell our cloud service. We have data centers in multiple places. In that case, the customer installs the agent, and the agent could be on-premise or in your data center, and we run storage, automation, and management. And you can also offer it as a hybrid model where you have agent installed on the customer hardware, You have the storage in your data center, so the data goes from your server or from a customer server to your storage, and you can use our storage solution or some other storage solution for it, or third party, but we run management and automation in your data center. And finally, you can host everything in your data center. Personally, I'm a great believer of the last model, and that's a model which was always used by Odin. With Odin, if you buy automation, it's not a hosted service. It's a solution which is installed in your data center. You manage, integrate, customize it. But we make it possible for you to work with Acronis in any of those models. And if we talk about cloud model or Acronis hosted model, today we have data centers in 14 places: US, UK, France, Germany, Russia, South Korea, Japan, Singapore, and Australia. It only takes about 4 weeks to launch a new data center for us. Data center effectively is one rack full of servers and storage. And if you can commit to $300,000 in sales, we can launch a data center in your country. So it's very easy to launch with this service. Of course, it takes time to launch if you want to implement it on-premise. So this is just a business example for a hybrid model where we host it, but you have the storage. So we host the management system, you have the storage, and you have the customer service. If you acquire 5.5 thousand customers in 3 years, that's not a huge number. You can get extra 5.2 million a year in annualized recurring revenue and great margin. And one of our premier partners, HomePL, adopted this model. So it's a hybrid model where we host the management system and they have the storage, and their personal business plan is 5 times more aggressive than this. HomePL is in Poland. It's a great hoster. Unfortunately, they are not here today. They were supposed to be on the Odin Summit. Yet they are in a small country. They are in Poland, and yet they have a plan which is about 3 times more aggressive. So they want to have about $15 million in revenue with a huge margin in just a few years. So here I wanted to talk about why you guys should look at our products. And as we move forward into the next 12 months and in the next 25 months, my rhetoric about this will only get more and more and more aggressive. So this is just very slight push. So I was thinking, what motivates hosters, right? It's very important for me, since I do business with you, for you to be motivated. And then I read this book, and I've seen this wonderful video. Who've seen this video about motivation? That apparently hosters and people are motivated by autonomy mastering purpose, right? And when I looked at this video on YouTube, I was thinking well, interesting, autonomy mastering purpose. Why do I really know so many people who are motivated by money? And then I just realized that for some people, money is the purpose. So the purpose of what they're doing is money. And so money are very useful things. If you make money on your hosting business, you can send your kids to college. You can buy this wonderful apartment in New York, Central Park West, $38 million penthouse. You can buy a Porsche Spider. This was actually for Germany. We should have changed it. I don't know, probably it won't be that popular here. Let's say it's going to be a Ferrari. You can go to a VIP tour to Peru. I advise it. Who has been to Peru in this audience? Oh, there are a few people. Well, it's really wonderful. We spent about, I think, $50,000, $60,000 on VIP tour. So for 2 weeks in Peru with my family, it's absolutely great. Cusco, Machu Picchu, Titicaca Lake. But in order for you to feel real good during the tour, it has to be well organized. You can buy a boat. This is a very inexpensive boat. You can buy a bigger boat. Some of the people buy funny boats. So I was just talking to somebody about Lance Crosby boat. Supposedly he has a boat on a small lake, which is larger than the lake. And so it's not so clear what he's going to do, because with his boat. He's in Dallas, and it's a small lake, but he has a very large, like 60-meter boat on that lake. It doesn't have to be on the lake. You can buy it on the sea. You can buy a Maui luxury villa. It's quite funny. I recently went to Hawaii for the first time, and the only reason I went to Hawaii is because Warren Adelman actually lives in Hawaii, and he made money on hosting. He was the CEO of GoDaddy, if you don't know, and all he wanted in the life is to buy a villa in Hawaii. In his case, it's also a farm. And there is another person who lives in Hawaii who is competing with Odin, and it's an owner of cPanel. So it's quite nice. I was there for business, though. Well, if you don't like any of those things, you can spend the money in Vegas, and a lot of hosters do. And if not, you can actually give money to Runa Capital. And in fact, a lot of hosters do. Most of our partners, most of our LPs are hosting companies. Host Europe, GoDaddy, SoftLayer, and many other hosting company founders are our LPs in Runa. So we will make you more money. So how to make money? When we started building Parallels, it was a mystery how to make money. People were talking about whether the hosting companies are technology companies, platform companies, application companies. But I think right now it's very easy. There are 3 ways to make money: EBITDA, growth, and churn. There's just 3 things which are worrying when somebody looks at the hosting company. They just worry about EBITDA, growth, and churn. Host Europe is valued based on EBITDA, growth, and churn. GoDaddy is valued based on EBITDA, growth, and churn. Endurance is valued on EBITDA base and churn. Rackspace is valued on EBITDA base and churn. Many of you guys' businesses, if you ever go public or sell it, they will be valued on just these 3 things. That's it. And I think that's why we are very good for it. So first of all, with backup, you can have excellent margin, minimal OPEX, and cloud architecture optimizes CAPEX, so the margins could be great. We believe by offering data protection, you can have net margins above 50%. Growth, of course, it's very easy. You can add on to your hosted services. So you have a server which you charge for, say, $2,000 a year. Well, you can sell a backup for that server for $1,000 a year and make extra money. You can protect your customers on-premise, so the same customer can actually back up all his on-premise servers to your data center, and you can also migrate the customers from competitors and from on-premise to your data center. And finally, there is no churn. There is a lot of churn because of data loss and downtime. You actually get out of this churn immediately. Extra services in general enable less churn, and it's quite known. Every extra service decreases churn by a lot. And also data management is extremely sticky, especially archiving. Once you have the customer data, customer is much more likely to stay with you. So it's a great opportunity to make money. I wanted to include this slide because it's important if you guys will be interested in this speech, is that making money, it's never easy to start with a new service. Many of you guys started virtual private servers, and it was not easy. Then started hosted exchange, and it was not easy first. And then, recently started cloud service, and it was not easy. And so, going for gold could be very hard. It could be very cold and not cloud. And I think it's important that we intend to operate as a startup. We are actually the same size as Odin and Parallels, but we intend to be completely non-corporate. I encourage all of you guys, if you are interested, to directly involve these 4 people. Well, I'm the CEO. This guy runs all of our products and engineering. This guy now runs all of our sales, Jim Herman. Jim, are you here? Oh, he's over there. John Zani is also here. Where is John? He's over there. You should talk to us directly, because I'm talking about flexibility and I'm talking about a lot of money, but that requires us and also requires these other people, and the presentation will be available for you. There is emails and mobile phones everywhere here. Involve us in doing business with us. Yes, you have your own Acronis account representative, and perhaps, since we're talking at Odin, you have Odin who resells Acronis products, but you should involve these people to really benefit from this huge opportunity. So it's really very simple. Data is more and more valuable, and there is more and more data involved. And data protection has to be easy, complete, and cheap, and cloud for the first time make it possible. Because you don't need a replacement hardware, you don't need a backup hardware, you just need to point to data or system which you need to protect. And we are offering complete set of data protection which is specifically designed for you guys, integrated with all products. I went to Hawaii not for no reason. That's because we will integrate transparently with cPanel, with ONUP, with everybody. And of course we integrate with Odin. And so every cloud service provider must offer this service now. One or another way. If you're not doing it yet with us, well, that's just not smart. Go and do it right now. That's even more important than buying Odin automation. And so there is a lot of money to split. I'm very confident in this opportunity. Right? So there's 4 business models which we enable. And there is just one more thing which I wanted to talk about. You know this company, Host Europe, we announced that they offering complete data protection based on Acronis. Just want to remind you, this company was founded in 1997. It's number 4 in the world, number 2 in Europe, number 3 in Germany. So number 2 in Germany is Strato, which is here. 1.75 million customers. Well, think about it. 2 million customers, that's probably 3 million workstations and several 100,000 servers. They have 1,000 employees, 3 data centers, 60 physical servers, 100,000 virtual servers. And so one of the business models now is that they become our partners. You can resell their services if you want. And they are also very acquisitive and buying everybody. First movers reap the most benefits. Andreas and Patrick, you guys must know them. They're here at the show. I wanted to call them on stage, but they have some other important meeting outside. But you can catch them later and ask them why they have chosen Acronis. The Host Europe is one of the most sort of traditional hosting companies in the industry, and they are definitely betting on Acronis big time, both on the server backup and on-premise backup and everything else. So that's it. That's all my presentation. I even have 4 minutes left. You can follow my Twitter. You can follow Acronis Twitter. You can make tattoo like I made. It's a real tattoo on my shoulder about Acronis. I'm really crazy about Acronis. I didn't make a Parallels tattoo, so I'm not going to show it right now. But otherwise, you should just start now. You should launch hybrid Acronis backup service. You can study Acronis disaster recovery service and learn how to sell it if you have managed service offerings. And you could look at Acronis Files Cloud. It will be available as a solution for production within next couple of months. That's it. Thank you.